Lance Chafin. How you doing? Lance Chafin in the house. Can you hear me okay? Danny Staten, greetings from South Carolina. The unapologetic geek. You're actually early tonight. Hey, yo to you too. Yo. And you guys say you can hear me okay, correct? Super. Life and Sad Ending says hello. Hi there, hello. I'm glad that you could show. Yes, and hi to you too, Tug. Oh, Superplex joining us here at 8:30 daylight savings time. That's East Coast time to the rest of you in the house. Superplex, how you doing? And hello to you too. Tom, the Hungry Jerk says hi, guys. Wow, got an awful lot of people. You know, I had a theory, a working theory, that when the word got out that Dave wasn't doing a show tonight, they'd go, who is the community's placeholder live chat guru? That would be moi. Oh, Mr. Led in the house says, hey, Thrash. Hey to you too, bro. Cindy D. Hello, everyone. And Thrash, and hello to you too. The Foundation is here. Oh, hey to you. He's from the UK. It's like 1:30 in the morning their time. Thanks so much for showing up. If you can't stay the whole duration because you need to crash, I more than understand. But so glad you could make it. Well, Jamin says, hello, everyone, and hello to you, too. Gary Carpenter in the house says, hi there, Thrash Pondo, and hey there to you, too. Dave Claroni says, hi, gang, and Dave, great to see you as well. Let's see. Waiting for see who else pops in. A lot of people, as always, having fellowship in our little community. By the way, what should I watch tonight, guys? I decided I wanted to pull out an old schlock movie tonight when I'm having a couple cold ones. I'm doing a pre-birthday celebration tonight. I found some old Ballantine Ale. Do any of you remember Ballantine Ale? Yeah, I found some Ballantine Ale. I'm going to have a couple of cold ones and watch some old schlocky horror movie. I'm probably going to watch Not a Living Dead, but I've seen that movie probably 70 times. I can pretty much quote it, even the MST3K version. Oh, more people streaming in. Daryl Johnson is in the house. Hey, Daryl, great to see you. Let's see. Ooh. Lance Chafin has a great one. The Stuff. You know why The Stuff would be a great suggestion tonight, by the way? Because we recently lost Paul Sorvino. And for those of you who've watched this stuff, Paul Sorvino has a small supporting role, pretty much not to the last third of the movie, but he virtually steals the movie. He plays a commander of this sort of ultra right-wing militia who actually turn out to be the bad guys. I know how the times they haven't changed, but you know what? If I can find this stuff, I'm going to pop it in. Thank you. Zublik says you should watch The Maltese Falcon. I don't know if that would make a good double feature, but I do have The Maltese Falcon. If I could do The Maltese Falcon, I'd do that in Casablanca. Daily Dan the Good Stuff says like 5. I guess he's telling everyone to hit the like and subscribe 5 times, or he's hit like and subscribe 5 times because of all his channels. But yes, while we're on the subject, hit like and or subscribe. The Unapologetic Geek says everyone loves the stuff. Can't get enough of that wonderful stuff. That movie really was ahead of its time. I remember I saw it when I was in high school in the theaters, and I kind of got the idea it was a farce, but I didn't realize just how much of an assault it was on American consumerism. And the supporting cast is just amazing. Number one dude says, Thrash, I'm late. How are you? I was actually a couple minutes late myself, actually. It always takes these things longer to get up going than I thought. But no, you're literally right on time. So far, we're still in the hello phase, everyone having fellowship, saying hi to one another. The topic so far is I'm going to have a midnight movie pre-birthday bash for myself, actually. I'm going to have a couple of cold ones and watch an old schlock movie, and I'm taking suggestions. If I was going, Doctor Giggles or the Dentist are good, but if I was going to go that route, I'd probably what was that old scarecrow horror movie from the early '80s? What was that? He was in. He was in that Larry somebody or other. Zublik says, "What is the stuff?" Okay, the stuff is a mid '80s comedy science fiction farce. So Cindy D said, "Happy birthday!" Not my birthday yet, but thank you. Prelated. Basically, it's sort of like that Hitchcock movie, Special Delivery, where the substance comes out of the ground and people begin to consume it, but it begins to take over their bodies. You're not sure if it's some kind of mutant fungus or something like that. But what they find is it becomes super, super, super addictive. And it becomes Invasion of the Body Snatchers meets a drug movie where basically this small group of people trying to save the planet from being taken over by this goo, the stuff, and people who are actually already infected with it who have this sort of consortium. It's actually pretty good in a sort of all Lens Chaffins. I knew someone would have the exact title. The Dark Night of the Scarecrow. I caught that. I was visiting my grandparents in Plymouth with my cousins, and we were like all in the family room downstairs, and that movie came on, and we watched it. And I got to tell you, when I was 12, 13, it scared the bejesus out of me. And I didn't realize just how much of an impact it has. There are whole sites on YouTube where they talk about that movie. You know what? I should watch it again and then review it. Actually, you know what? That's an October project if I've ever seen one. The Golden Age of TV says Jeepers Creepers, Bob. I'm not sure if that's his way of saying hello or suggesting I should watch Jeepers Creepers. But bum. Golden Rage Pat, it's wonderful to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Lid says Children of the Corn. I don't own that. Or it's be a good one. Ooh, Life and Set Ending says Vincent Price. He had me at Vincent Price. The Last Man on Earth, or Earth versus the Flying Saucers. Vincent Price was it in Earth versus the Flying Saucers. It is a great movie. I actually just saw Last Man on Earth with our good friend Tug as part of his public domain theater. He had a watch along with it, and I do own it. I have it myself, and I've watched it recently. But he actually I just watched it with them. Zuplex says watch Christine. Oh, the Unapologetic said The Devil's Rain. Oh, LQ Jones. I love it. But if I was going to do LQ Jones tonight, I would do A Boy and His Dog. But I do love The Devil's Rain. Dilly Done the Good Stuff gives a link to our good friend Pat. Lance Chafin says, I believe he was saying The Toxic Avenger, but autocorrect failed him. Yeah, for those of you who haven't subscribed to the Unapologetic Geek yet, please do. He does not only some amazing retrospects on vintage science fiction films. His new public domain theater it's so much fun. It's watch-alongs for old science fiction, and you got to check it out. BK on the Air is in the house. The stuff was great. I am a big Larry Cohen fan. W, the Winged Serpent. Gulmo told me to kill, and it's alive. Isn't it Q, the Winged Serpent, at the risk of being pedantic? Great film. And the whole It's Alive quadrilogy, I think there was of them. The Unapologetic Geek says Invasion of the Bee Girls. Azubil says watch Andromeda Strain. Weren't we just talking about the Andromeda Strain? Let's just see. Mr. Lid says, oh, he just went blank again. Mr. Lid says, I'm sorry, did that thing where it jumps just as I'm starting to read it. Devil's Rain was on Svengoolie last week. No kidding. Sir Blick says, watch Tremor. Tom Hungry Jerk says, hey, Pat, a Creature Features convention in Concord. Okay, Sunday. Yes, I know. When I heard about it, I was all psyched, and I was like, oh, Concord, Mass. No. Concord, California. Beaky on the air says, yes, it was Q, the Winged Serpent. I thought so. But we were on the right track. Let's see. Oh, Kenneth Wilkinson's in the house. Says, "Good evening, Thrash. Good evening to you. So glad you could join us." Cindy D says, "The Amityville Horror. I know you mean the original. Seen that one many times." Zublik says, "Watch the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad." Do I have that? I have a lot of Harryhausen. I actually have a Harryhausen box set, but for some reason I don't know if that's in that. Oh, the unapologetic geek says Carnival of Souls. I got to see that in like a Fathom event on the big screen. It was a double feature with another movie, and it's a great movie. It's sort of like if a Twilight Zone was actually made into a feature film. That's how I always describe it to people. It's pretty slick. Uh, let's see. Skipping down. Oh, Lev Javen says Critters. Superlick says, "Watch Zombie by Fulci." I think all I have is Zombie 4, which is the one where the zombie fights the shark. You know, I'm gonna have to go through my collection again. A lot of my favorite movies are buried somewhere in my collection. I have a copy of that Italian post-apocalyptic film Rats. You know, the one about the biker gang that's attacked by rats. Uh, yeah, I can't tell you the surprise ending, although you've probably already guessed it. But I have it somewhere, and I've been able to find it in years, and it's driving me insane. I know it's somewhere in there. Duplex says, "Watch Attack of the Killer Tomatoes." I could actually do that as a double feature because I actually have the sequel as well. Believe it or not, yes. George Clooney's actually in it. Gary Carpenter said, "Oh, watch The Terror with Boris Karloff and Jack Nicholson. One of my favorite movies. It's just so delicious. It makes absolutely no sense, but I actually love it. And that would make a great feature with that one he did that was a takeoff on Color Out of Space. Don't tell me. I will remember. Don't tell me. But that was one with Nick Adams. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Love it. Love the soundtrack even better. Oh, I'm getting a smiley face from the Unapologetic Geek. Uh, Golden Rage of TV says Barry King, never heard of him. You know what? He actually wrote music for the Banana Splits early in his career. My hand to God. Daryl Johnson said A Village of the Damned. Which one? Somewhere I actually have that book in my book collection. Another person says Attack of the Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Another person says Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Oh, Pat says Killer Clowns was filmed in his hometown. That's so cool. Zublik says, "Watch the Stepford Wives." Lance Chafin says, "Cape Fear." Again, which one? Tracy Ross Myers in the house. Bobola, so good to see you. Gary Carpenter says, "Hey there, watch The Terror of Boris." Oh, another one for The Terror, yes. Superblex says, "Watch Taxi Driver." You know, I just saw Taxi Driver like about a month ago. Love that movie. I love the extended cut too. Daryl Johnson says Something Wicked This Way Comes. I haven't seen that movie in forever. I think last time I saw it, I think I was in high school. Unapologetic Geek says The Brain That Wouldn't Die. I actually have the MST3 Cajun version of that. It was a wedding present a friend gave me at my bachelor party. Gary Carpenter says Rats. No thanks. Oh, go good with Willard. Lance Chafin said Food of the Gods. That's another good one. I don't own it, but that's a good one. Daryl Johnson says Death Race 2000. You guys are just on top of things tonight. Zuplik says, "Watch." I think that's the title. There's actually two. It was originally called, as you so aptly put it. But when it was released to TV, it's my understanding that it was retitled to Snake, because nobody knew what meant. I remember I was like in preschool and I saw that a trailer for that on one of those film review movies. Shows rather, and it scared the bejesus out of me for years. I did watch Dirk Benedict in it and Strother Martin as the mad scientist. Great film. Um, One of the guys who played one of either Huey, Dewey, or Louie in Silent Running is actually a snake monster in one scene in the carnival scene. Lance Chafin says Prophecy 79 about the mutant killer bear. I stumped, and these guys are on their game. I stumped uh, Dark Corners with that movie. They were asking for little known sci-fi horror movies, and I said the prophecy about the mutant bear, and they had no idea what I was talking about. Ooh, Mr. Lance says Day of the Triffids. Love that one. Lance Chafin said It's Alive. I'm assuming you mean the Larry Cohn one. And Daryl Jones says yes, the 1961. Zuplik says watch The Exorcist. That's not a fun movie to watch by yourself, I've found. It just isn't. Daily Dan's Good Stuff says, have you seen Terror Train with Jamie Lee Curtis, 80s horror at its best? Yes, I saw that years ago. I don't own it because that'd be a great one to watch tonight. Trathos Myers says, LED, love that book. Yeah, it's a great book. Dan the Triffids, yes. The book is actually much better than any adaptation. There was a 1980-ish BBC miniseries based on the book. It's probably the closest, but they've never done the book justice, I'm afraid. That's the one actually Brian Aldous refers to as the cozy catastrophe, because in his opinion, the survivors have it too easy. You have to read his review to kind of pick up all the points, but it holds water. The Golden Bridge of TV says, hey, Zuper, my wife wanted me to ask you, don't like me based on some of last night's comments there, I asked. I'm assuming that's in reference to the heated debate that was last night. I'm sorry I couldn't make it. I didn't get home until like 11 last night. Gary Carpenter said, watch The Horror Express, Telly Savalas, Peter Cushing, and Christopher Lee. I've done on this channel, I have a review of that. In fact, I'd be honored if you all go and watch it. Not now, because I'm talking, but later on, go into my my catalog and watch my review of Horror Express, because I think I make some excellent points. And that one would be an excellent one to watch tonight. Lance Chafin says Vice Squad. I don't own it, but that's a good one. Zuplik says watch Joe 1970. My old roommate loved that movie. I don't own it, but he was obsessed with it. I did like it. Keith E. Oh, Keith E. Hello, Keith E. Saw the original Fly 55 years ago. Scared the crap out of a 10-year-old. I can certainly see how it would, particularly the end. And Keith, thank you for joining us tonight. The Unapologetic Geek says the original Triffids or the 1980 miniseries version. Oh, that's what we had just covered that. I have both. Tonight I would probably watch the movie, just because it's kind of tough to watch a BBC miniseries in one sitting. But to answer your question, or if it's a question, the miniseries, the BBC miniseries from 1980, was a much more faithful adaptation. And we just went jump again. You people are so on it. It's like I'm having to catch up with some of the comments. Lance Chafin says Dawn Wells is better than what? Well, I'm sure she's good across the board. Terrell Eugene Bellinger in the house. Happy Wednesday, Thrash. How do you feel about the Batgirl movie getting canceled? I heard something about that. I'm not sure what the details are, but that sucks. Azuplik says, watch Nashville, because I'm easy. I'm easy. And that's all the song I'm going to sing, by the way. But yes, you get to see Keith Carradine sing a rockabilly number. Let's see. The Unapologetic Geek, we know our classic schlock thrash. We certainly do, Tug. We certainly do. Tom the Hungry Jerk says, I lived 3 blocks away from the Boris Karloff house 100 years ago. You told me that the other day. That is like so cool. He does. He lives near the house where Boris Karloff used to live. BK on the Air. Oh, and by the way, before he scrolls over it, if you haven't subscribed to BK on the Air, please do. He has some amazing stuff. He posts his blogs on the air. They're fitted with a number of wonderful retro commercials that are really entertaining, as well as the content that he brings himself. It's just a great total package. Please subscribe to him. Girly, or AKA Mumsy, Nancy, Sunny, and Girly, 1970, crazy, scary, fun, directed by Hammer Films' favorite and sometimes cinematographer, Freddie Francis. Love Freddie Francis. Never heard of that movie, although I might watch Attack on Snape Island again tonight. The When I was like 4 or 5, they used to show commercials for that in the daytime, and the commercial for that movie scared me. I used to hide behind the couch, but I used to call it Snake Island. I didn't know it was called Snape Island. So I'm like, "Oh, mommy, this is Snake Island. We're gonna get bitten by snakes." I was 4. What do you want from me? Truth or Minor says I saw this movie when it was actually disturbing. It certainly was. David May. Oh, hello, David May. Thank you for joining us. Gray Man on Netflix, pretty good. I do have Netflix, but it's in my bedroom. My wife will be asleep, so I might watch that tomorrow. But thank you, David. Excellent suggestion. Tom Long Jerk says I have on VHS. Number one dude said Birdemic was kind of frightening. I actually was watching that the MST Riff Tracks version. It was actually very entertaining. Let's see what Jamin says. Watch Sorority Babes in the Slime Board Ballerama. I think I watched that on USA Up All Night when I was in college, but I remember nothing about it. But there's like a bell ringing in the back of my head with Gilbert Godfrey, R.I.P. Up All Night. Gary Carpenter said It Came From Beneath the Sea. Great one. Daryl Johnson, The Birds. Amazing film. Trey Myers says, I like Silent Running. It was good. It's an absolutely outstanding movie. And the short story it was based on, well, novel, I should say, was very good as well. Corey Comey channel in the house. Yeehaw, I'm here. Hello, everyone. Corey, I am so glad. Thank you very much for joining. And this goes without saying, for those of you who haven't subscribed to Corey's comedy channel, he brings some amazing, cutting-edge dad jokes. And his delivery is just, you got to go check out his channel. If you like my stuff, you'll love his. Oh, and I have to explain something to you, Corey. I think this fell through the cracks. He told this great dad joke in a post just a few days ago. One of them was, what's the difference between a fly and a mosquito? And he said, a mosquito can fly, but a fly can't mosquito. And in my typical scamp sense, I said, well, Corey, I got to take exception to one of your jokes. And here's the exception. I have a very dear friend who is a fly from Ecuador. And my friend, the fly, is very homesick. So you could say that my fly does miss Quito. Quito being the capital of Ecuador, the fly will miss Quito. It is an absolutely terrible joke, and I should be ashamed of myself. But I didn't want you to think I was actually taking umbrage with one of your humor. It was all part of my boyish scamp charm. And now we can all move on with our lives. BK on the air says, is great with Derek Benedict. I think I bit my tongue that time. And yes, he was in Starbuck. Mr. Led says, original Triffids, please. You know what? That one's like coming out ahead. Oh, yes. The topic so far tonight is I'm having a few cold ones tonight, watching a midnight movie as an early birthday celebration. And people are suggesting really cool schlock movies that I should watch. So feel free to interject your own. This is actually a lot of fun, really. Let's see. Golden Ridge of TV says, we're still talking about if you and Zuplex hate each other. I'm sure your wife doesn't really think so. Cindy D says, what are you drinking, Thresh? What does your shirt say? This is part of the Game of Thrones ensemble. And my wife actually bought it for me before we actually started watching Game of Thrones. We watched it actually during the shutdown. We binge watched like all 8 seasons in about 2 weeks. But it says, I drink and I know things, which is the catchphrase of one of the characters, one of our favorites. And my wife just thought it was perfect for me because I do enjoy the occasional beer, and I have an endless wealth of trivial information. So what more appropriate? So I tend to watch this when I'm having like one of my late night, I call them bridge nights. because I watch my movies in my den, which I refer to as the bridge. If any of you remember why, please state in the comments below. If not, I'll explain it. And also, I'll be having a couple of beers. I found, for those of you who might remember this, people my age and above, Ballantine Ale. I don't think I've seen Ballantine Ale in years. But anyway, I bought some, and I'm going to have it and watch. Well, the early returns are Dare the Triffids, but there's any number of other films I might pull out. That answers your question. Tom Jerk says he met Dirk Benedict. That's very cool. Gary Carpenter says Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. I don't think I have any Abbott and Costello. Actually, I take that back. I have Africa Screams and Jack and the Beanstalk. Let's see. Liz Chafin says, good one, Gary. Mr. Liz says, one of my faves, Invasion of the Body Snatchers original. I know you like the remake. You have a very good memory. I actually like both very much. I think I like the second one slightly better for a couple of reasons. But the original was a masterpiece. But I thought they did some psychological stuff, which made the second one like a thriller, a psychological thriller. And I thought that was great. But either work. And to be honest, I don't think I own either one. Shame. Let's see. PK on the air says Prophecy 1979, John Frankenheimer. You're not the first person who suggested that. I was just saying, I don't know if those of you who subscribe to Dark Corners, but they really, really, really know their old horror movies. And I stumped them because they were asking for suggestions for old horror movies. And I mentioned, how about the 1979 Prophecy about the mutant bear? And they had no idea what I was talking about. It's nice to actually stump people who are tough to stump. I'm sorry, you guys have. I am like so far behind here. I'm going to try to catch up as quickly as possible. Lance Chafin, Kingdom of Spiders. Lance Chafin, Creature, 1985. Gary Carpenter, Earth versus a Spider. Cindy D says The Birds and Rear Window. Hitchcock at its best. That would make a great double feature. Unapologetic Geek, the original Stepfather with Terry O'Quinn is pretty good. Golden Age of TV, Legend of Hell House. Richard Matheson at his best, it certainly was. Oh, Dilly Den's the good stuff. Gives us a great a link to some great schlocky horror movies. Life Inside Ending. Anyone here upset that they are taking Days of Our Lives off NBC after 57 years? I haven't watched it in years, so I will live, but I can certainly see why it would be hurtful to those who did watch it. Number one dude says, Night of the Leprous. Very good. David May says, have you read The Tragic Story of Badfinger? Very sad biography. 2 members committed suicide. I haven't, but I will look into it. Lance Chafin said Legend of Boggy Creek. That'll be right up Dan's alley. Unapologetic says I need to watch the Hammer Curse of Frankenstein again. It's been too long. I have his It Conquers the World. Frankenstein Conquers the World, or Must Be Destroyed. I have one of them. Tracy Ross Myers says I like Frankenstein. Fahrenheit 451, one of my favorites. Like Dystopian Societies, love that one too. Gary Carpenter also likes Return to Boggy Creek. Zuperlik says watch Terminal Island. Lisa Fields in the house. She says hi everyone. Hi Thrash Pondo and everyone, and hello to you too. Tracy Ross Myers says, but A Clockwork Orange is my ultimate favorite, possibly the best dystopian movie. Period. Possibly, arguably. The Apologetic Geek says just watched Incarnation on Netflix last night. Had some pretty disturbing stuff in it. If you can stomach found footage, I'd give it a shot. Sublik says watch Swamp Thing. Just see Adrian Barbeau. I remember I saw that when I was 12. Tom Lungan Jerk says Clockwork Orange disturbing. It certainly was. Live Inside Ending says Tracy Ross Myers, you can't beat Kubrick. Man never made a bad movie. He didn't make a lot of them, but he never made a bad one. Zublik says, watch The Fog. I watched that one recently. Love that movie. I just covered it actually when we were talking about John Carpenter with the Action Elite. Check out the Action Elite too. They got some great stuff. A lot of people agreeing with Clockwork Orange. They're talking. More people are talking about. I'm sorry. I don't really follow the soap operas, so I don't really have a dog in the fight. But again, if you're a big avid watcher of soap operas, commiserations. Anyone who loses their preferred entertainments, it's very, very, very sad. Truth of Mind says, loved Kubrick 2001: A Space Odyssey was great. Certainly was. Gary Carpenter said, ugh, that joke. Lance Javen says, to Tracy, I'm afraid I can't do that, Dave. Open the pod bay doors, Hal. I'm afraid I can't do that, Dave. Best scene of the whole movie. The Unapologetic Geek says 2001 is possibly my favorite sci-fi film. It's certainly an epic. Lisa Field says hi, Wadge. Oh, yeah, a lot of people having fellowship. Corey's Comedy Channel says, haha, thanks for the clearing that up for me with the fly. I appreciate that, good buddy. I appreciate that, good buddy. Yeah, like I said, so sometimes it's funny. They Keaton Key and Peele actually do a whole bit about that, about how it's the problem with text communication. When you change the inflection, much like I just did with you, it sometimes changes the meaning. And you know what? That's why a lot of times people say like sarcasm mode off. It's like you're trying to say, well, I'm just kind of kidding here, but I can see how like in some cases people can misinterpret. I actually had a particularly nasty exchange with somebody on a Walking Dead site once because he misinterpreted my question to be a disparaging remark. And things happen. I tried to apologize, but at that point he wasn't listening to me. So anyway, Daily Dan's the Good Stuff gave a link to Corey's comedy channel. Please check it out. Daryl Johnson said The Fly, the 1958 one, not the one from Ecuador, huh? Keith E. Oh, Keith E. How you doing, man? Keith E. says, ouch on the fly joke too. Yes, that was terrible. But comeback jokes are sometimes not as good as the original. But I work with what I got. Gary Carpenter says Invaders from Mars. The original is good. Lublick says watch Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the original. Tom Huggy Drink says, I first saw Clockwork Orange when I was in the 5th grade. Wow, little extreme for a 5th grader, huh? Lance Chafin actually says both the Invaders from Mars. So he just says, that's a fly joke. BK on the air says, if I had to pick my favorite director of all time, it would have to be Kubrick. I can see that. The Foundation says, are you looking forward to House of the Dragon? I am cautiously optimistic of House of the Dragon. Much as I love Game of Thrones, as most fans will tell you, they were not as happy with the last season or two as they should have been. And I have not let that sour me on the project. But I can see how a Game of Thrones prequel might not meet expectations. It looks great. I've like all the trailers and stuff I've seen on it. It looks great, and I'm gonna watch it either way. If I have to, I'll grudge watch it. I may end up calling it "Lame of Groans" afterwards, which was how I referred to the last season of of the epic. But I'm looking forward to checking it out. It's part of the reason I kept my HBO Max. Zublik says, watch Beetlejuice. The Foundation says, I think that's the name of the spin-off show. That sounds right. Blake says, watch The Blob, the original. Love The Blob, the original. Wow, Taylor Mother says she was about that age when she saw Clockwork Orange too. It just popped again. Hang on. Let me just get rid of that. I'm gonna kind of zoom through these just so I can make sure I get everybody's to catch up. Oh wow, I'm way behind. I watched the original. Okay, here we are. Watch 12 Angry Men. I have that in a box set. City says, I don't watch Game of Thrones, so they're clearing that up. You're quite welcome. Big Guys 45 says, on vacation. Hi. Hey, folks. Great to see you. Glad you could take time on your vacation to come see us. The Unapologetic says, then there's Joe Bob Briggs, the greatest movies of the 1990s. Frankenhooker. Gary Carpenter says, Reptilicas. Daryl John says, you got any Bing Hope movies? Any of them road movies is good. I might. I don't recall. Zublick says, watch High Noon. Dilly Dens gives another link. My favorite Abbott Costello movie was Meet Frankenstein. Mine too. Zublick says, watch A Fistful of Dollars. I just saw that, actually. Gary Carpenter says Willow and Krull, great double feature. The Apologetic Geek says you could do the classic double feature Invasion of the Saucermen, and I was a teenage werewolf. That could work. Zublick says watch Psycho. Daryl John said a few dollars more. I might just do a double feature. I actually like A Few Dollars More better than Fistful of Dollars. Fistful of Dollars is effectively a remake of Yojimbo, but A Few Dollars More, just the interplay between Clint Eastwood and Lee Van Cleef is just amazing. Anybody who agrees with that, put it. Actually, let's do that. What's your favorite of the Men with No Name trilogy? Fistful of Dollars, Few Dollars More, or the prequel, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly? Terrell Eugene Villages says, Thrash, what's your favorite underrated 80s slasher film? Probably Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. It was not well received in the box office, but it had Dennis Hopper, and I thought it was great. Lisa Field says, what are we talking about? I'm lost. LOL. I'm going to have a couple cold ones tonight. Have a midnight movie where I watch some old schlock horror movies, so everybody's telling me what their favorite old horror movies are, or just favorite old pictures that might make a good midnight movie with a couple of cold brews. BK on the Air says, the craze 1974, Jack Palance trying to come up with some you may have not heard of. Oh, I like that. I like new stuff. Every now and then I find new stuff, but it's rare. Plan 9 from Outer Space, says Daryl Johnson. Watch Django, not the Tarantino crap. Mr. Led says, Cindy, I love Rear Window, Raymond Burr, scary, good, but I would double up with Psycho. Make a great double feature. I actually saw Rear Window in the theaters. They were doing like a retro. Daryl Johnson said, Thing from Another Planet. I believe you mean Thing from Another World. Lance Chafin says, what horror movie Thrash on his Bay Lisa? Not quite sure what we got there, but thank you, Lance. Zublik says, watch The Magic Christian for less. Zublik says, watch The New Centurions. The police procedural film? Okay, doke. That could work. I don't own it, but it could work. Lance Chafin said, Singing in the Rain. Creepy scene. The Unapologetic Geek says, yeah, Adrienne Barbeau really sticks with you when you're a kid watching the Swamp Thing. She certainly does. I even thought she was amazing in Maude. Mr. Lynn says, John Carpenter's The Thing, possibly my favorite sci-fi horror film of all time. Possibly. And that's sci-fi horror where you blend the two. Cindy D says, it's Thrash early birthday night. Oh, she's explained to Lisa Fields. So Blick says, watch Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I just saw it like a week ago, and you really got to leave a little time in between with that movie. Begin there says, in the Company of Wolves, 1984, great 80s werewolf romp. I think I saw that. I had a friend in high school who's wicked into werewolf movies. So Blick says, watch Yellow Submarine. I don't know it anymore. I gave it to a friend. I lost one of his movies. That was a compensatory gesture. American Werewolf in London, love it. Zublik says, watch The Terminator, the original. Gotta love it. Gary Carpenter said, Van Helsing. Lisa Field says, Lance, I love that movie. Ooh, Lance Chafin said, Funhouse. Is that by the same people who did Valentine's Day? Let's just see. The Apologetic Geek says, you don't know true cosmic horror until you get to that dance scene in Mac and Me. Back at me. Mr. Led. City D says, Mr. Led, I love The Rear Window too. And Psycho's a good one too. Lance Chaffin says The Howling. Vicky on the says The Blob 1958 is great for sure. Plus the remake in '88 was fantastic as well. What was the name of the girl in that? She was in that Ted Danson TV show. Gary Carpenter says The Deadly Mantis. Wow, really? Oh, and the Giant Claw. Oh, now there's a double feature. Life and Editing says, how about Fright Night with Roddy? You know what I recently found out? Now, as you know, Roddy McDowell's name is Peter Vincent in the movie, and I always thought that was a play on Peter Cushing and Vincent Price. Elvira's last name is Peterson, and there was another creature feature host from somewhere, I believe in her area, whose name was Vincent. That's another way they possibly got Peter Vincent. So either way, it's an homage, but I'm not entirely sure who. But I just found that out recently on another site. Let's see. Dilly Dan gave another link to BK. Thank you. Daryl Johnson says Samurai Cop. While Jamin says Fright Night was great. Oh, and have I not said to subscribe to the What Jamin's channel? If you haven't subscribe to Jamin's channel, he has some great jokes as well. Superlick says The Jerk. Oh, BK on the air says, thanks for the plug, Mr. Dave Sunstrom. Oh, is Dave in the house? Boy, I'm way behind. If Dave's in the house. Gary Carpenter says Gorgo. Behemoth, Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. Great triple feature. Skipping down because I'm trying to catch up here. I just lost it. Here it is. Keith E says, good, bad, and thrash. The good, the bad, and the thrash. I love it. What are you trying to say? I'm ugly? But I'm guessing he's saying that would be his pick for the best of the trilogy. Unapologetic Geek says, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is such a wild ride. I love the drastic whiplash in tone from 1 to 2. It really is. It's like, well, I almost said it's like two different movies. But I mean, it's like, yes, Bob, it is almost like two different movies. No, it's like two different movies, but it's like really, it's like almost different franchises. What Jamin says, the good, the bad, the ugly for me. Probably me too. I really love that movie, and a lot of people don't even realize it's a sequel. Up by my tongue, prequel. You're a Hunter from the Future with Redbone. Life the Sad Ending says Billy Jack in The Born Loser. I win. One tin soldier rides away. And no, I'm not going to sing. Lisa Field says, I love the good, bad, the ugly. It really is just a masterpiece. It really is. Life and Sad Ending says losers. Oh, the Toolbox Murders. Good one, Lance. Lisa Field says, yes, Billy Jack loved him. Didn't he die not too long ago? Daryl Johnson says, Rikio, a young man who has superhuman strength, is incarcerated at a private prison where inmates are treated like slaves and is forced to use his unstoppable form of martial art. Lance Javen says, My Bloody Valentine. That was the Valentine's Day movie I was thinking, My Bloody Valentine. Yeah, I love that one years ago. Gary Carpenter says, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, thumbs down. Hey, it's a free country. Zublik says, watch The Treasure of the Sierra Madre. Well, you know that joke about when I was working at the summer camp, and we were doing a play at the end of the summer, and I had to find parts for like 47 kids. So what I do is I made a bunch of them squirrels and a bunch of them badgers and a bunch of them raccoons, and they were basically supposed to just be in the back acting like wild animals while the kids who could actually act and had talent were in the front. And we're about to go on, and I had the raccoons in costume and I have the squirrels in costume, but I can't find the kids with the badger costumes. And I go to this kid, Timmy, who was like my right-hand man. You know the type. He was like, always wanted to be the one in charge. So he made the perfect little stage assistant. I said to Timmy, Timmy, where are the badgers? And he goes, badgers? We no need no stinking badgers. I'll continue. Daily Den, the good stuff. Shaun of the Dead, love it. Thank you, Tracy. Daily Guns of Good Stuff says, yeah, want to talk about things that stick with. I saw Rocky Horror Picture Show when I was 10 years old. Love Rocky Horror. Didn't like the remake so much, but great movie. Lisa Field says Prom Night. Yeah, what's her name was in that? Yes, Prom Night. Corey's Coming Channel says, last night I watched The Exorcist 3 times. I don't know what possessed me. Oh, Corey, that was good. Well, it could have been worse. You could have said I was watching The Exorcist 3. Mr. Lynn says, the good, the bad, the ugly. My ringtone is that theme song. Da 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 da. Da da da. What is the name of the girl from The Exorcist? I have her autograph. Oh, it's gonna kill me now. I'm ashamed too because I should know that one like a shot, but I don't. Um, let's see, skipping down. Oh, we have I can't pronounce Razum. I'll just call you Z Razum. I'm thinking of. Ooh. Well, I'm not sure I'm prepared or capable of helping. But there are plenty of sites where you can get the help that you need. So please contact them, and they can certainly help you as far as that goes. Good luck. Daily Dens of Good Stuff says the unapologetic geek. Oh, and he gives a link. Thank you very much. Terrell Eugene Bellinger says, from what I understand, the cult classic Canadian slasher My Bloody Valentine cut down a lot of gory scenes in order to get an R rating, but the scenes were restored when it was released on DVD. I have never seen the restored. I saw it in like the theaters when I was like 16, 17. Yeah, like a midnight movie or something. Um, let's see what else we got going on here. Trilogy of Terror, another good one. Diligence of Good Stuff says Peter Vincent. Hello, Vincent Price and Peter Cushing. Yes, that's always what I thought too, but it could also go the other way as well. What Jim says, thanks for the shout out, Thrash. My pleasure. BKM Leo says the Funhouse 81 is directed by Toby Hooper, and it's awesome. It certainly is. Barton Fink, thank you, Superplex. Live and Editing says, Bob, buy a burner phone and give out a call in number. I have people calling in during the show. Ooh, buy a burner phone and give out the number and have people call during the show. That's actually a pretty cool idea. That's actually a really good idea. I like that idea. I might use that idea. Gary Carpenter says, Monsters Go Home, Hellboy 1 and 2. Lance Chapin says, Poltergeist. Skipping down. Murder by Death. Suplex says The Road Warrior. Suplex says, watch Toy Story? Wow, we're really getting to the nitty gritty, aren't we? City D says, Dial M for Murder. Love that movie. Trey Ross Meyer says, Little Big Man. I have that movie buried in my collection. I might actually just pull that one out. That's a great one. I really love that movie. The Unapologetic Geek, I'll come in again. The Unapologetic Geek says, Gary, you keep naming great ones. Murder by Death. It really is a great movie. I was just talking about that. Let's see. Daryl Johnson said, Wave the Dragon. Skipping down. Ooh, Zublik says, watch Straw Dogs. Ooh. Gentleman just died. He played the bad guy, or the bad guy's henchman, actually, in Titanic. Warner. Something Warner. David Warner? David Warner. Yeah, he was in Straw Dogs. He plays the mentally unstable brother. Linda Blair, thank you. I am so ashamed. Oh, we all knew it. Normally I would have too, for some reason I had this like mental block. Oh, David Warner, thank you. I actually got that one myself, but thank you. So yes, Z Druv. I'm not sure if you're still listening, but yes, what our community is telling you, please. There's plenty of people who can give you some help. People who are possibly more qualified than I am, but we are certainly pulling for you. Uh, oh, the unapologetic geek actually gave a number. So thank you very much, Tug. That was very very kind of you. And please, these people are out there to help. And you know what? And we're pulling for you. So please give them a call and take care. And then watch a fun movie. Prince of Darkness. That's not really a fun movie, but moving forward. Gary Carpenter says, "Warning from space." Oh, and Cosmos War of the Planets. I'm sure I've seen War of the Planets. I'm sure of it. But I love Warning from Space. Corey's Comedy Channel says, "Can I smash the like button?" I just did. Well, you answered your own question, and I'm so glad you. Thank you so much. Lance Chavin says, "Into the Mouth of Madness." And Zublik says, "Yes, David Warner." I did get it, but thank you for your help. Daily Denza Good Stuff says, "I like Motel Hell." And the Unapologetic also says, "David Warner." Thank you. We just rest in peace, Mr. Warner. Uh, let's see. Zublik says, "Watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre." We were just talking about that one, weren't we? And Daryl Johnson's Little Nicky. Little Nicky. Oh, the Unapologetic Geek has a good one. Time After Time is one of my favorites. He plays Jack the Ripper. Well, spoiler alert. Yes, he plays Jack the Ripper, and Malcolm McDowell plays H.G. Wells. And what happens is when H.G. Wells is getting ready to unveil his time machine, Jack the Ripper, who actually is masquerading as one of Wells's friends, well, actually, that's his secret identity, is Jack the Ripper. And at a dinner party, he steals a time machine and goes into 1979. And H.G. Wells gets the time machine back and tries to stop him, and it's a whole pissing contest thing. It's really, really good. Let's see. While I was pontificating, I lost the train of the thought, so I'm getting back here. Here we go. The Unapologetic Geek says, "You caught up, Thresh." Yes, and while I was pontificating, I lost again. Lance Chafin mentions Near Dark, The Lost Boys in Pumpkinhead. I don't think I've seen Pumpkinhead, but the other two I have seen, and I love them, and they'd be great choices. Life and Setting says Norman Bates is his own mother. Spoiler alert. A buddy of mine years ago waited on them once, talked about it for years, like they were in the war together. He asked, it was right before Psycho 2 came out, and he goes, "Do you have any projects coming up?" And I guess the way the story goes, Anthony Perkins went, "We'll see." But yeah, my friend told that story for years. Hungry Jerk says, "Went to San Francisco premiere of Phantasm. I won the tickets in '79. I love Phantasm." Zuplex says, "Watch Return of the Pink Panther. I saw that in the theaters." Watch Evan says, "I like the Lost Boys." Zuplex says, "Watch The Fifth Element." Unapologetic Geek says, "Worms, Michael, you're eating worms." Oh, I thought you were talking about, what was that horror movie about the worms that get hit by lightning and become Squirm. Squirm. There we go. Zuplex says, "Watch Time Bandits." Obradia day, Obradia day, Obradia. Watch Yellowbeard. I had a copy of that, and I don't know what happened to it. Gemmin says, "I've not seen Time Bandits in a long time." A lot of people have love for Time Bandits, though. Lisa Field says, "Thrash, you have to watch Pumpkinhead." I don't know why I never did, to be honest with you. I don't, but maybe I should. Unapologetic Geek says Pumpkinhead is pretty good. Lance Hendrickson is awesome. I love Lance Hendrickson. I don't know why I just never saw it. I don't know if wasn't going to the theaters when it was on, but Lance Chafin says The Intruder. Do you mean The Intruder from Within? There was an old. It's an Alien ripoff. It's an old horror movie from probably 40 years ago. Instead of like an alien from outer space, they're doing deep core drilling and they bring up some very primitive like lamprey. thing which runs amok on an oil rig. Is that the one you're talking about? It was a made for TV movie, and it had the mother from War of the Worlds plays Robin on it. And I used to think she was so cute when I was a kid. If that's the right movie, let me know. And I'm trying to remember. Some other people were in it, but if that's the one you're talking about, it's pretty good. Zuplik says, watch Murder on the Orient Express. Mr. Lit says, wait until dark with Audrey Hepburn. Very Hitchcock-like. It certainly is. Keith E says, as a blind guy, I just hit the like button, and I was only number 3. Surely you people can see fit to hitting the like button. Keith, I think you've said it best. Oh, it looks like there's 16 now. So I think whatever you said, lit the flame. So Keith, thank you so much for helping us out and getting the ball rolling. Unapology agrees with Squirm. Life and Said and says, White Christmas, Danny K is a hoot. Do Christmas in July, huh? Well, too late. It's August. Let's see. Gary Carpenter says, R.I.P. Pat Carroll. Definitely. Liz Chafin says, The Beast Within Thrash. The Beast Within Thrash? Super says, Killdozer. The unapologetic geek. Our minds think alike. The unapologetic. I'll come in again. The unapologetic geek says there's a beast within thrash. That's that syntax error we were only just talking about, where you have to kind of inflect and Dilly Dan says I see 16. It's 16 now. Yeah. Azublik says watch Being There. I can't get through Being There. For some, I have tried on several occasions from when it first came out to maybe a year ago. I cannot get. I don't know why. The movie just grates on me. I saw Unapologetic Geek. I actually saw Wait Till Dark as a stage play, and that was amazing. Mike Silva in the house says, welcome, Mike. Good to see you. A trash compactor too. Mike, does He-Man have a trash compactor? I think not. Gary Carpenter says Tarantula and Black Scorpion. Ooh. I love Black Scorpion. Tarantula's good too, but I love Black Scorpion. Kingdom of Spiders might work too. Yeah. Mike Silva says a game of speed, reflex, and reaction. Kevin Murphy beats the hell out of E.T. on the Atari. E.T., as I'm sure all of you know, is one of the worst received Atari games in history. Mike Silva says Fast Times at Ridgemont High 1982. Michael J. Nelson, doesn't seem like Phoebe Cates getting out of the pool rewind moment to me. Haven't we all rewound that scene? Tom Hungry Jerk says, I love The Wanderers. New York gangs in the 60s. Yes, with Ken Walls. Amazing movie. That actually made, I used to watch that as a double feature with The Warriors, which is a little darker. But the Wanderers was great. It has, I have somewhere buried in my cassette tapes, it has an amazing soundtrack. Just a great soundtrack. Mike Silva says Riff Tracks rocks. It certainly does. So he says Mildred Pierce is a good movie. It reminds me of the old Carol Burnett's Skip Mildred Fierce sketch. I'm guessing is what you were saying. Did you see it, Tracy? Lance Chafin says Link. I'm assuming he means Lancelot. Oh, so did he correct herself? She did mean skit. Thank you. Gary Carpenter says them, a great one. Unapologetic Geek says, okay, here's one for you, Thrash. I saw this movie, but I have no idea what it was. Some astronauts land on a moon, and there's an old man with a bunch of daughters and a monster. Journey to the Seventh Planet. It's actually, I believe it's a Danish science fiction film. And it was cobbled together with a bunch of special effects from other films at the time and made into this quasi-lucid sci-fi film. I own it on VHS, and what it is the monster. It's like a disembodied brain with a big eye in the middle, and it has such mental powers that it can create illusions, but solid illusions. And that's where all the daughters come from because the men are lonely, and well, one thing leads to another. But I don't know what it's called in its original Danish, but it's Journey to the Seventh Planet, and I own it, and I might just watch it in your honor tonight. Mike Silva says Lidsville. Was that a movie? Dealing in the good stuff says like Mantis about a giant praying mantis. I thought that was I thought it was a different title. Well, I know what you're talking about. It was good. Was Peter Graves in it? Well, anyway, it's a good one. Cindy D said it was funny if you have Pluto, watch it on Carol Burnett channel. Oh, I see. We're talking about the skit. Yes. Ziplex. You just went zipping by. I don't know the French connection. I'm very sorry. Oh, Mike Silva says, "Here come the judge. Here come the judge." Mr. Led says, "Geek. I saw Wait Until Dark in an assembly at school when it first came out. The end scared everybody half to death. Great jump scare. I can certainly see that." Um, Live and Setting says, "At Janetta Corner, the baby. There's a bell ringing in my head, but it could be my tinnitus." Tom the Hungry Jerk says, "Great soundtrack in The Wanderers." It certainly is. It's one of my favorites. Trevor Myers says, "I will see you next time. I need to go to sleep. Work in the AM, you know. Nice seeing you guys. Have a great one." Hey, Tracy, thanks for joining us tonight. Oh, and Brainerd's, Florida. Do you know a place on the West Coast called Brain something or other? That's where my mother's best friend lives now. She was living in Sarasota, but she moved to Brains. Lance Jeffin says Stigmata. And my intrepid spaniel Stig amongst the giant pygmies of Becklewood. Zublik says phone call T-Pawns. I gotta get a burner phone first. People will think I'm a drug dealer. Do I look like a drug dealer? Don't answer that. Mike Silva says the Bat Network, same bat time, same bat channel. Yes. Yes. Although, have you guys noticed I've kind of become the fill-in live chat guy. When Dave can't do his, I fill in for him. And when Pat can't do one, I fill in for him. And even when Ian can't do the live chat with both of us, I carry on in our honor. And speaking of which, yes, this show is a commemoration of Dave Sundstrom. It's a commemoratory live chat. I just saw him earlier. We were actually working on a project for Retro Serial and mine, and Dave was very nice enough to join. We should have it out for next week. But yes, I'm becoming sort of the Pat Paulson, who remember used to fill in on the Tonight Show all the time. I'm the Pat Paulson of the Dave Consortium community. Let's see. Sublik says, "Watch The Ring." Movie scared me. Oh, Mike Silva says, "E.T. Phone Home," laughing out loud. Mike Silva said, "TV show Lidsville." Yeah, yes, I remember the TV show. We were talking about movies, so I thought there may have been a movie about it. Every now and then they make feature film. There was a H.R. Puffin stuff feature length film. Zublik says the Japanese version of The Ring. I think the scariest Japanese horror film that I've seen of that whole block is The Audition. That one really freaked me out. Or what's the one about the cannibal guy? Oh, and they're doing a crime scene. The opening scene is one of the craziest in like cinema history. There's a crime scene, and they're examining the body, and the brain's gone, and looking for the brain. But they interrupt this guy during a like some type of gourmet meal preparation, and they keep arguing about something smells delicious. Damn, where's the brain? Anybody found the brain? No, but man, something smells good. And then they're just sort of like, and then they all go pouring out of the apartment, having to cast and purge. That's a great one too. I just wish I could remember the name of it. Kind of putting myself into a corner here. The Unapologetic Geek says, "I should ask you every time I don't know the name of something. Thrash, thanks." Every now and then, I'm the one who has the Hail Mary. God knows I've asked you guys for enough Hail Marys, but it's actually nice to be of service when I can. I watched a lot of horror movie shows when I was a kid. Um, Max Silva said, "Still here, guys. Sorry, I have late. No problem. We're glad you could make it. We're so glad you could make it." Keith, I believe it was Keith E. I just somebody said Kentucky Fried Movie, and I was all cut up. Mike Silva says Kentucky Fried Movie. Lance Javen says Thrash will Ian be back this Monday? He certainly will. Lance Javen says Amazon Women on the Moon. Love it, love it. I saw that in the theaters. Gary Carpenter says The Time Machine, original, naturally. Sublik says Watch Rosemary's Baby. Hungry Jerk says, Tom Hungry Jerk says, Huma, ah. Mike Silva says, Bill Corbett. Everyone at Life Day is excited. The Snow Miser's scheduled to go on in 5 minutes. Michael J. Nelson. That guy's a one-hit wonder. Mike Silva says, Tom, I'm going to do a laugh in joke. Mr. Lid says, you're doing yeoman work, Thresh. Yo, man, yo. Is that good or bad? I'm not sure. And Daily Dan's the Good Stuff gave a link to Dave Sundstrom. I shudder to think that anybody on this page has yet. I met most of you through Dave, but no, if you haven't, please subscribe to Dave. The Unapologetic Geek says, I could totally set aside the whole day and just watch all the great George Powell sci-fi flicks, Destination Moon, War of the Worlds, Conquest of Space, Time Machine, etc. I loved your retrospect on Destination Moon, by the way. I think you hit the nail right on the head. It was very fair and even-handed as far as the criticism goes, and you did it very, very well. Keith E says, good night. You did Dave proud. I'm new to all this, but thanks. Keith, thank you so much for joining us. Please, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do, and please watch for more. I'm going to do as many of these as I possibly can. They seem to be very well received, and I'll try to keep up with giving you folks the stuff you enjoy. This was literally out the gate. I asked an off the cuff comment about like what a good movie to watch tonight would be, and we've gone for well over an hour, and it's been like so much fun just talking about a good movie to watch tonight would be. Corey's Comedy Channel says, impressive live stream, Thrash. You're doing great with your channel. I'm very proud of you, brother. Corey, that is so great of you to say. I just thank you very, very much, and I'm always glad you can join me. But I think about maybe trying to do like stuff a little more scripted, but it seems like the impromptu is what the people on my channel like, so I think I'm going to keep doing it. But who knows? We'll go wherever you guys want to take us, because it's really all about the fans. The Apology says, I've been trying to track down a copy of The Time Travelers. Isn't that the Hewitt, David Hewitt, who I believe is an uncle of Jennifer Love Hewitt? Isn't that the David Hewitt film? I believe I have a copy of that on videotape. I believe I do. He then goes on to say, the Apologetic Geek says the audition is really messed up. It sure is. Oh, Len says I'm buffering. We may have to call it very soon, but I'm going to try to press on for a little bit more, because a few more, at least I want to respond to some of these comments. Ooh, Crystal Love RN. What is this chat about? Well, Crystal Love RN, I'll tell you what I do. I follow in the footsteps of David Sundstrom and some other folks. It's a nostalgia channel. And what I do is I talk about vintage movies, music, and TV, mostly TV, although tonight it was about movies. Vintage from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, with some bookends on other decades. But it's a nostalgia channel, and we'll have a topic, sometimes a couple of them, and I'll throw the topic out, and we'll just sort of talk about it, see where the conversation goes. Tonight the topic was, a little just off the cuff, I was thinking about watching a movie tonight after the show, popping in just like an old schlock horror movie. and what old schlock horror movies do people like. And for the last hour plus, we've been talking about classic old horror movies and sci-fi. If you have any old classic horror movies you'd like to throw into the mix, please do. Um, but again, we also talk about music, TV, and that type of thing. Crystal Levar, and then goes on to say, it just popped up. Well, I'm glad that the algorithm brought me to your doorstep, and I'm glad you decided to check us out. Please stick around. We'll be doing this for at least a bit longer, provided I don't continue to buffer. Mike Silver says, Hungry, you want a strange... Hungry, oh, that's Tom. Tom, you want strange watch Children of the Stones? Children of the Stones? I don't know Children of the Stones. Suplex says anything, Crystal. Yes, we talk about anything, and it goes everywhere. Yeah, Tom also doesn't know that movie. Please fill us in, because again, we're not sure what that movie is. The unapologetic geek says, "Hey, Crystal, we're just talking schlocky horror movies for the most part tonight. Certainly has been the topic." Crystal Love RN says, hello from New York. Oh, New York City or the hinterland? I used to live in White Plains when I was a kid. Beautiful state. I went to school out in the Berkshires, and sometimes we go out to Albany and part of the upstate. Love the upstate area. My dad took me to the Finger Lakes when I was a kid. Beautiful, beautiful state. But please let us know if it's New York City or the rest of the state. Lee Mateus. Well, Lee Mateus was here, but he retracted his message. Broken record bit. If you haven't subscribed to Lee Mateus, please do. He does some amazing stuff with modern music, particularly the hip hop scene. Check his stuff out. He's great. And Lee, just nice to know that you're somewhere in... Oh, look, he's actually a little further down in the chat. So let's just see what we got going on here. Oh, he says hi, everyone. And hello to you too. Good to see you. I'm sorry. It does that thing where if I let too many messages back up, it just basically flips everyone off the page. So I have to scroll down to find them. Lee Matea says that thumbnail gets like a like. That thumbnail gets a like from me. I'm glad you liked it. Because we're doing pirate radio tonight. Get it? Pirate radio? Because I was pirating Dave's spot. Let's see what else we got there. Crystal Love RN says, I love horror movies from the 60s and 70s. Great stuff. Great stuff from that time period, particularly the Hammer films. But great stuff out there. Mr. Led says, you're in the right place, Crystal. You certainly are. I thought, Crystal, I believe you asked me about whatever happened to Baby Jane. That might be further down, but that's a great one. So yes, that's an amazing horror movie. They did a behind the scenes of it not too many years ago. I don't know if you saw behind the scenes, but it was great. The Unapologetic Geek says Attack of the Crab Monsters. I love that movie. I really do. Tom the Hungry Jerk says met George Pal at a convention in '77 in Oakland. That's great. While Jimin says Thrash, please keep doing you. I certainly will. I can't do many other people now, can I? Daily Dan's the good stuff says, okay, test for you. 70s movie where giant rabbits menace a small Texas town. Night of the Leprous. With Jim Davis in that as well. Not to mention DeForest Kelley. Wait, did I say DeForest Kelley? Wait, yeah, DeForest Kelley. I was right, yeah. Terrell Eugene Bellinger says, do you think that the failure of the 1992 Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie and Joss Whedon's disapproval of the film were what really led him to create the hit TV show on his own terms? Probably. He had a very set vision of what that show was going to be like. And the show worked, and as you pointed out, the movie didn't. And, of course, one of my favorite tidbits, he based the character of Buffy on Sam from Night of the Comet, one of my favorite mid-'80s zombie renaissance movie. The idea of the cheerleader with the machine gun killing zombies, only he decided to go with vampires over zombies. Let's just see. Oh, Crystal Love Aaron says, take care, bye. Well, thank you very much for joining us, unless you're saying goodbye to somebody else. If you're sticking around, please do. And Here later we see. Later she's saying, okay, I'll try. So I'm assuming that you are going to stick around, but uh, it's one of the problems when you're trying to follow the thread. Sometimes you miss a key component. Lee Mattea says, watch Brain Damage. That movie's ringing a bell. Why can't I place it? I remember Brain Donors. I'm sure I've seen Brain Damage. Daily Dan's the good stuff says, I wouldn't call Buffy the Vampire Slayer was a big failure. It spawned a TV series that went for years. Well, that's it. The movie was kind of a sleeper. It didn't really do that well, but it had enough interest where it got enough people to push for a TV show. Daryl Johnson says Life Force. Space vampires. How can you go wrong? Crystal Love RN says Hush, Hush, Sweet Charlotte. An attempted film to try to recapture the magic of whatever happened to be Baby Jane. A good one, too. Victor Buono's in that, wasn't he? Yeah, let's go with that. Mr. Lynn says, good one, Crystal. The Unapologetic Geek says, it's not schlocky. I got a copy of Moon 02, but have never watched it. I'm sure there's a bell ringing in my head. I'm sure I've seen it, but I can't place it at that moment. But I think I've seen Moon 02. So Didi says, Jim Davis from TV Dallas Thrash. Yes, that's Jim Davis. Yes. Gary Carpenter says, I could watch Godzilla movies and cartoons all day long. I have a Godzilla box set. I like to watch them in their Japanese, and if I'm having a couple cold ones, I tend not to have a couple watch with subtitles because it's distracting. Mike Silva says, Geek, it's unwatchable without MST3K. I think I watch it on MST3K now that you mention it. Zubik says, watch Coffee for Pam Grier. Zuberplex, we've talked about the dirty old man bit. The Unapologetic Geek says, brain damage, Peter Jackson. I mean, okay, I do remember it. Now. That was years ago. Lumite says brain damage from the same director as Basket Case. Peter Jackson did Basket Case? I remember Basket Case. I didn't remember Peter Jackson did it. Must have been earlier in his career. Trilogy Junior Bellinger says Slaughter High was underrated. It starred the Bond girl, Carolyn Monroe. Awesome. Love Carolyn Monroe. Gary Carpenter says, I can still see and hear you. Thank goodness. Someone said I was buffering a minute ago. Daryl Johnson says Basil Rathbone's Sherlock Holmes movies. Oh, awesome. Amazing renditions. Crystal Love RN says, obviously The Shining. We were talking about Stanley Kubrick earlier. You can't go wrong with Stanley Kubrick. The man never made a bad movie. Suplex says, watch The Parallax View. I've been meaning to watch that for some time. Lance Chafin said Slumber Party Massacre. Moon 02. Mike Silva says Moon 02 is a sci-fi western with one of the worst plots for a movie. Or pilots, whichever. Lance Chafin says Tourist Trap. Crystal Love RN says Hannibal when Ray Liotta is eating his own brain. Ooh, yes, I remember that. Daryl Johnson says Robin Hood with Errol Flynn. Mike Silva says Star Crash. Lee Mattea says, no, not Peter Jackson, the brain damage. Oh, someone earlier said that Peter Jackson directed Brain Damage. I might be thinking of two different movies. Terribly sorry. But I know I've heard of Brain Damage. Crystal Johnson mentions two fantastic Hitchcock movies, Psycho and the Birds. Yes, we were talking about Hitchcock earlier. You see, you fit right into this channel. You've been talking about all the ones we were talking about earlier. Let's see. Oh, okay, I see. The Unapologetic Geek says, I was totally wrong. By the way, Jackson did not do Brain Damage. Okay, that was it. He did do a movie with it. What was it called? Which is the one I think I'm thinking of, which isn't Brain Damage. So I'm going to have to say that, to be honest, I think the movie that I was thinking of is a different movie, so that I have not seen Brain Damage. So having sufficiently muddled the mix, Lee, I'm very sorry I have not seen Brain Damage. He goes on to say, Lee Mateus, it is a much older movie that came out after Basket Case. There's even a Basket Case cameo in it. Huh. I have to check this out because I have seen. I love Basket Case. Lance Chaffin said Pieces. I've seen Pieces. That's a great one. That was actually set in New England. It's an Italian film, but it was set in New England. Crystal Love RN says The Omen. And The Fly. I'm assuming you mean the original, but the remake with don't tell me. Yeah, him, the guy from Big Chill. That one's pretty good too. If you refer to that one. Mike Silva says The Monsters, the show. Yes, I don't know if I'm going to do the movie. I've seen the trailers and I'm like, the Apologetic Geek says Brain Damage was made by Frank Henenlotter, who, yes, also did Basket Case. But more importantly, he did Frankenhooker. We were just talking about that. Daryl Johnson, Your Rear Window. Remember? Yeah, I was saying I saw that in the theaters. Let's see what else we got. CDD says, even Eyes Wide Shut, Thrash. Okay, so maybe Kubrick did make one film that wasn't very good. And you know what? While we're on this, but you know what? He didn't complete that movie. He had started it and died before it was completed. So you can't really pin that one on him. Same with based on the Brian Aldiss, as everyone knows, Brian Aldiss is my favorite author of all time. He wrote Summer Toys. AI. He wrote the short story AI is based on loosely, and I didn't like that AI either. Skipping down. Gary Carpenter says, yo, and a bottle of rum. While Jevin says, Jeff Goldblum. I said Michael, didn't I? Yes, I did mean Jeff Goldblum. I don't know why. I think I'm having COVID fog. I think my mind. I'm just, since the shutdown, I'm not as sharp as I used to be, but who is? The Unapologetic Geek says, Brain Dead is the Peter Jackson movie I was thinking of. And that may have been the one I was thinking of as well. So we'll go with that. Oh, Gary Carpenter said Theater of Blood. Oh, that one's a great one. And so many people think that it's actually part of the Dr. Phibes franchise, and it's not, but it's a great one. Oh, Samuel Moose says, Samuel Moose says, ahoy, matey, where did you bury the treasure? No holding out. I'm assuming that we're making a reference to the pirate get up in the beginning of my post. Yes, today's topic is pirate radio. Sadly, I have no treasure to bury. If I did, I would have dug it out and spent it. I never could hang on to money. But thank you for playing, Samuel Moose, and thank you for joining us. Skipping down, Zuplik says, watch Fight Club. Way ahead of you. Lord Fog the Toost says, hello from someplace. Hello to you as well, by the way. I'm sorry I butcher things like that. Crystal Loves Aaron says, In the Mist. Do you mean The Mist based on the Stephen King novella? Because that was one of my favorite Stephen King stories of all time. City D says, The Fly, the 1985 version. So Blake says, watch Blue Velvet. Good one. Good one. Mike Silva says, saw the uncut version of Santa Claus and the Ice Cream Bunny. Crystal Love Aaron says, would you rather? Would you rather? The Unapologetic Geek says, my father-in-law is a film professor obsessed with Kubrick, and he gave me a long, long lecture about Eyes Wide Shut that has convinced me it deserves another look. Well, good luck with that. Daryl John says, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Mike Silva says, Barry Buntrock, there's no time for that. Susan, wait, I have a better idea. CC McNamara, on with the plan. Barry, my man, Susan Talbot. Why do I even try? Assorted villains. Hey, it's those kids. I feel like I'm just in a scene, but I'm not sure from what. Mr. Lynn says Full Metal Jacket. One gentleman says the stars at night are big and bright in the heart of Texas. Gary Carter says the abominable Mr. Fives and the Return. Yes, those are the only two. Um, Crystal Love Ahrens, The Mist. Yes, good movie. I didn't like how it differed from the book at the end. I like the ending in the book better, but it was a darn fine attempt. Cindy says in the circus one too, Daryl. Yeah, that's not a Dr. Fibes. Let's see. Skipping down. Watch The Mummy with Boris Karloff. Unapologetic Geek says my favorite Stephen King story is The Ballad of the Flexible Bullet. Haven't read that one. Mr. Lynn says buffering. Well, we're getting close to 10. We may call it. I'm going to call it a little to 10 tonight, by the way, because one, because I'm buffering, and two, that was about the time I was thinking about calling it anyway. But the original Frankenstein is another good one. Crystal Love RN says 1978 Halloween. Love the original Halloween. Did you know The Mask? The Mask was actually a William Shatner mask from Star Trek. Mike Silva says Wonderbug Croft Show. One of my favorites. Daily Den, the good stuff, gives a link to the Unapologetic Geek. Gary Carpenter says Zuplex the Bride of Frankenstein. I have a Bride of Frankenstein mug that goes with my Frankenstein mug, of course. Terrell Eugene Bill just says, didn't Kate Mulgrew, Captain Janeway, and Jerry Ryan, 7 of 9, really hate each other while filming Voyager? There was a lot of behind-the-scenes drama in the making of that show. A lot of it, so I wouldn't be surprised if it says watch the Star Wars Christmas special on YouTube. My mother, when that aired, the one time it aired on TV, my mother was punishing me and wouldn't let me watch it and said I could watch it next time. You can watch it next time, and then never aired it again. So I've deliberately not watched it, even though I could probably find it on YouTube. I don't, because I'm punishing her for not giving me my opportunity when it was on. The Unapologetic Geek says, hot take, James Whale's Frankenstein is better than James Whale's Bride of Frankenstein. This opinion seems to make some people upset. Why? It's a free country, and he did both. And Gary Carpenter says, Gamera movies. The Unapologetic Geek says, Star Wars Holiday Special is a true horror. Daily Dan, the good stuff. You look fine to me. Haven't seen no buffering. It's this crappy service. That could be it. Sometimes I know Gary had that problem for ages where the problem was his phone, not my projection. But we're still getting towards 10 o'clock, so we'll probably wrap it up in just a little bit. But the book says Wolfman, the original. Tom Hungry Drake says it's early, only 7 p.m. in California. Yeah, it's 10 o'clock here on the East Coast. Gary Carpenter said The Fantastic Voyage. Wasn't that the TV show we were talking about, where it's sort of like The Fugitive, where the people crash in the Bermuda Triangle, where the boat wrecks in the Bermuda Triangle, and they go from one dimension to another, and Roddy McDowell's in that one as well. The Unapologetic Geek says the Shatner mask was from The Devil's Reign, not Star Trek, I think. Ooh! Amazing trivia. It's William Shatner, definitely, but one, you might be right. And two, that's a great trivia question if it is. And three, even if it isn't, I'm going to use it. Crystal Love Aaron says The Ritual. Haven't seen it. Suplex says watch 1 million years BC, both the original and the Raquel Welch version. I'm so glad you phrased it like that. A lot of people don't realize that there was actually the original version with, I want to say, Lon Chaney Jr., but there was 1 million years BC with Raquel Welch was the remake. There was one from the 30s that was the original, and a lot of people don't even realize that. Crystal Love RN says Hush and Fractured. The Unapologetic Geek says I'm not getting any buffering incidentally. Well, that's good. That's good. Zuplik says watch the Spice Girls movie. Not on a bet. Mr. Lid says could be Dan. Lots of storms here. Oh, that might be it. Yeah, when I went to the video store, we used to have the Spice Girls in the store play, and that alone, it was really hard to block out. Gary Carpenter says Journey to the Center of the Earth, the original, with of course James Mason. Join me, Pat Boone, and Gertrude the Duck as we journey to the center of the earth. And that's my James Mason impression. Let's see what else we get going on here. Crystal Love RN says, I love the Fantastic Voyage. Good one. Zublik says it's a mad, 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 mad world. Crystal Love RN says, Gerald's Game. Not familiar with that one. Samuel Moose says, I was traumatized by The Wizard of Oz. I have the hots for the Wicked Witch. Do you think her... Okay, we're sailing a little close to the wind there. So I'm just going to move forward. Mr. Led says Gary the original, Gary the original with Pat Boone. Yes, yeah, there were a few remakes, but definitely go with the one with Pat Boone. Gary Carpenter said Mike Sigmund and the Sea Monsters. I used to know the words to that song. Terrell Eugene Billy says Don't Look Back and the 1978 remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers both starred Donald Sutherland, aka Kiefer's dad. Were all time greats when it comes to sci-fi horror. Yes, they were. Crystal Love RN says War of the Worlds. I'm guessing the original George Pal, and yes, it's a wonderful movie. Oh, Tom Longer Jerk says, go to see Spider Baby on Sunday. Love that movie. Terrell Eugene Bill just says when it came out, sci-fi horror. Mike Silva says, you bet you're a sweet baby. Unapologetic Geek says, okay, I looked it up. And it's complicated. The mask was sold as a Kirk Halloween mask, but it was based on a mold made for the Devil's Reign. So it's kind of both. I see. Yeah, because they had to wear the masks in the whole face melting scene. Zuplik says, watch The Dirty Dozen. Mr. Lynn says, great Mason thrash. Oh, thank you. I do a few lines from the Blue Max too, but none of them pop into my heads. So we will simply have to press on without them. Oh, I know that nursery rhyme. Late last night, beneath my stare, I met a man who wasn't there. He wasn't there again today. Oh, God, I wish he'd go away. And that's about as much as I'm going to be able to do for tonight. But Crystal Levarin says Wizard of Oz, which was a kindergarten teacher. I thought the guy who wrote it, Baum, I thought he was a traveling salesman and wrote them in between sales pitches. Let's see. The Unapologetic Geek says the old lady from the end of Don't Look Back is traumatizing. Zuplik says watch Clute, not a fond of Jane. We have Grandpa Jack in the house. Have you seen the movie Jack where Robin? No, I have not. Crystal Levarin says she graduated from Emerson College in Boston. I did not know that. Huh. Learn something every day. Zubik says all the president's men. Sid Moose says Crystal Levarin, you stop trying to save SW Detroit junkies. Not sure what you're getting at there, but okay. Mike Silva says, Gah, Schneider, I thought I erased you from my memory. I see. Zubik says, watch Butch Cassidy, the Sundance Kid. The Apologetic Geek says, Jack was made by Francis Ford Coppola. There's a bell ringing in my head after you said that. Darrell Jones said, North by Northwest. I don't think I ever saw Jack, actually. But I there's a bell ringing in the back of my head. Crystal Levarin says Margaret Hamilton, the Mean Witch, was AKA. Oh, okay. I thought you meant the person who wrote it. Oh, okay, that makes more sense. She was a very impressive person. She actually did an episode of Sigmund and the Sea Monsters too, I believe. And of course, wasn't she also in the Paul Lynn Halloween special, the infamous one? Tom Longer Jerk says, "Gotta go, gang. See you soon." You certainly will. Don't worry, we're probably gonna be wrapping up very, very soon. Tom Longer Jerk says, "Catch you later, Hungry Jerk." Oh, yeah, there you go. So book says, "Diamonds are forever." I have the Bond collection. I probably could. Crystal Love RN says, "In Cold Blood." Sissy Spacek was in that, wasn't she? And Martin Sheen, or am I thinking of a different movie? Um, but either way, if that's what you're talking about, yes, it's an excellent film. An excellent film. Well, I gotta tell you, folks. Mike Silva says, "Man on his hands of fate." I gotta tell you, like this was amazing. I started out this like impromptu live chat and just said, "What would a good movie to watch tonight be?" And we've gone for an hour and a half plus, just rattling off all these amazing movies. We could actually do a playlist of these films, I think, and just watch horror movies silly till the end of times. But anyway, I think we need to start to wrap things up. So if anyone else has any other things they'd like to read into the record, I'd be happy to read them off. Mr. Lynn says Robert Blake was scary. He certainly was. He certainly was. What was that movie he did? Um, oh, he did that really, really scary movie. Or creepy movie. Not so much scary, but creepy. Uh, Lost Highway? Yes. Um, skipping down. Uh, the Unapologetic Geek says Manos is only watchable as the MST3K version. It certainly is. Uh, Crystal Love Aaron says Truman Capote did in Cold Blood. Yeah, I remember he wrote the book. And Zuplex says you're thinking of Into the Badlands or just Badlands, which was a good movie, which is also about thrill killers. Yes, I'm sorry, I was confusing two different works, but yes, Truman Capote did write in Cold Blood. Skipping down. Zublik says it's been great. Thank you so much. It has been great. Crystal Lovarin says, good night. Thank you for the fun. Crystal, thank you. Please subscribe to my channel, and hopefully I'll be doing another live chat very, very soon, probably next week. But they become impromptu, so sadly there's not a lot of notice, but I always try to give as much notice as is humanly possible. Daily Den's the Good Stuff gives another link to one of his channels. Unapologetic Geek says we've given you plenty of options. Good night, Thrash. Thank you. You have given me plenty of options, and thank you very much. Samuel Moose says ancient Egypt fascinates me. Go with the Mummy. I don't know if I have the Mummy, but I'll if I do, that's certainly one of the options. Corey's coming channel says I enjoyed the show, man. Good stuff, Corey. Thank you so much for joining me. It's always great to have you on the show, and looking forward to more of your stuff too. If you haven't subscribed to Corey, please do. Great dad jokes. That's all I can say. He has some of the greatest dad jokes on YouTube today. Cheryl Eugene Bellinger says, thanks for the chat. Hope you have a good night. You as well. Cindy D says, good night, all, and good night to you. Superlick says, watch Robot Monster. Yes, Mystery Man and Monster's favorite movie. Daryl Johnson says, I'm shutting down and going to watch Paranormal. Caught up on video. Have fun. Daily Dan has given another link to Corey's comedy channel. Crystal Love Orange says I subbed. Thank you so much, Crystal. I'll have some new material very, very soon, but please feel free to check out some of my older posts. I think a lot of them are also very fun as well. Zublik says, please watch some of these old movies. I'm sure we all will. Gary Carpenter said Frankenstein versus Space Monster. Love that movie. I don't know why I love it, but I love it. Daryl Johnson says, y'all have a good night. Zublik says, watch Santa Claus Goes to Mars. Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. The Unapologetic Geek says you have to watch every movie we talked about today. I'll see you next March. Gary Carpenter says, love your James Mason. Well, thank you, Gary. It has been my pleasure to provide it for you. Yes. Mike Silva says, not Mac and Me, but it's unwatchably disturbing. Zublik says that would be funny on Unapologetic Geek. Daily Guns of Good Stuff says happy trails and happy trails to you. Dan, thank you so much for joining us. I'm glad you put your links in the description. Got some great stuff. And by the way, if you're all still on there, don't forget 13th hour this Saturday at 1 a.m. after SNL. Check it out. It's like, it reminds me of the old night flights. Great stuff. I'll be there and I'll see you guys there. Cindy D says until we meet again. Zublik says watch Roy Rogers. Gary Carpenter says watch Flash Gordon. Grandpa Jack says, feel free to watch my uploads. Gary Carpenter says, Have Rocket Will Travel. I didn't know they made that into a feature film. I love the book. And a lot of people giving uh, little emojis saying basically good night and peace and have fun and all that. And on that note, I want to say, folks, thank you so much for joining. I have so much fun doing these. You folks seem to have fun watching them, which I can't tell you how much joy it brings me. It really means a lot to be able to have fun with you folks and have you folks have fun just watching me talk, really, but also having fellowship with each other. And because, as Dave always says, we're a community. And I think that's part of the fun is that we can all get together and have this like, little fireside chat. But anyway, folks, take care. Be good, be safe, be careful. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all again very, 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 very soon. Peace.